So here we are doing a quick walk around of the bike for you guys before we take off on our demo ride. We've got nice storage in the Honda Goldwing, obviously. It's a touring bike. We got the full tour pack on the back. You can get the Goldwing without the tour pack, and it will still come with the saddlebags. Saddlebags, nice with a little shock. It just lowers the door for you. Very nice. I'm never too sure about these because if you wanted to pack stuff in, it's nice to be able to get from the top so it doesn't fall out the side when you open. But plenty of good storage. Rider backrest available. Obviously a passenger backrest. This is the DCT model. In front of me, a gentleman has the manual, so if you don't like the DCT and you just want to have a manual shifter, they still make that as an option. In the front, we have dual floating disc brakes, an incredible suspension, running lights. The Goldwing, if you know anything about it, it is the most fully loaded touring bike you could probably get on the market. It's the original touring bike. It's amazing. So let's hop on, get ready to go on a ride. So keys there, power to start, and because we're in neutral and this is an automatic bike, we have a parking brake. So instead of leaving your bike in gear as kind of a parking brake on a normal bike, you have a parking brake. Release that and we're good to go. Over here we have automatic or manual, so you can shift it electronically. You're not shifting with your foot. You've got paddle shifters over here on the left. You've got down and up is on the back with a trigger for your index finger. We're in neutral right now. We'll click it into drive when we're ready to go. Got cruise control. We've got powered windshield. And it's a chilly morning here at Americase, so I'm probably going to leave that up. We'll see. Maybe we'll wait till the highway. Good range on the powered windshield. I've done plenty of these Goldwing test drive videos for you guys. I'm familiar with this bike. They're very cool. It's not quite my speed, but they're still awesome. Now, heated grips and heated seat. What do we got? Ah, yes. All right, heated grips on, heated seat on, and you can see the levels for those over here. It's a chilly morning here. It's about 55 degrees. Let's get out on the road and give you guys the full review of the new 2024 Honda Goldwing. So let's talk about low speed handling. This bike has a walking assist mode. If you engage the walking assist mode once you're neutral in the parking lot, it will take the bike forward 1.5 miles an hour forward, and it will also do reverse 1 mile an hour backwards. So you can do a heavy leg day at the gym and still be able to move this big motorcycle around with ease. It will back it up for you. Awesome feature to have if you have limited mobility in your legs or you just don't feel like pushing this thing. There are plenty of times I've hated having to push my Chieftain backwards. Low speed handling like this, moving around the parking lot, you have a very upright riding position and it feels very, very, very nice. Easy to control. Great maneuverability. I'm gonna go ahead and put that windshield up, block the wind, give us better audio for the video. So, we are on a group ride from Honda, which means we have to obey all traffic laws. We can't speed, can't do anything fun. Now, they run a safe group ride here with Honda. But they started us off in tour on these bikes. I did already click mine into sport mode, as you can see up here. We've got lots of different options for the motor. We're going to leave it in sport for most of the ride, but I will show you the other modes a little later on. So kicking off this review, we've got different criteria by which we are going to judge this motorcycle. The first category is comfort. If a bike's not comfortable, you will not want to ride it. I don't think I even have to say it with a Goldwing. If you know anything about them, it's like the lazy boy of motorcycles. It's probably the most comfortable thing out there on the road. The seat, incredibly comfortable. The riding position, feet comfortably bent at a 90-degree angle. I personally prefer... Ooh, where are my turn signals? That would be a good thing to know. There they are. Personally, I prefer forward controls, but you can't really do that on this motorcycle because, as you'll see from the shots of the bike, with this bike you have the engine sticking out pretty wide in the front, so forward controls aren't really standard. I believe you can get some sort of aftermarket options for forward controls, but as a general rule, most Goldwings, your knees are just bent at 90, straight down to the pegs. It's very comfortable. It's a very relaxed and very upright riding position. You have good posture, so your back stays comfortable all day long. Handlebars have a nice pullback to you. It's very comfortable, it's very upright. Comfort for this bike, 11 out of 10. I don't think you will find a more comfortable motorcycle on the road anywhere else. If you guys have been around my channel, you know I love Indian and their comfortable bikes and their Challenger and Pursuit. I give them top honors, 9.5 and 10s out of 10s on comfort. But the Goldwing it's the cream of the crop when it comes to comfort. Now, we're on the highway, let's talk about power. We're currently in sport mode and we are in 7th gear. This bike has 7 gears to it. Most bikes top out at 6, and I believe the manual version of the Goldwing also tops out at 6. So only the DCT is going to get you 7. And we're in sport mode here. Unfortunately, I can't really open it up, like I said. If I dig deep in the throttle there, it will give you a nice little pull. But there is a slight delay to it. Everything's done electronically. The shifting is very smooth. In sport mode, you can tell when you shift to the next gear. There's a very, very slight, shifting lurch to it in sport mode that lets you know, all right, we've dropped into the next gear, you're good to go. But in tour mode, you'll be hard-pressed to identify when it actually shifts gears. So I'm gonna change my tour mode here. When you switch modes over here with your right index finger, you just roll off the throttle, and then the next throttle input you give, it will switch to that mode. So if you accidentally jumped into sport mode and you had your hand halfway into the throttle, it's not going to jump forward on you. You have to roll off the throttle, re-engage the throttle, and it will re-engage that new mode. We're in economy here. The engagement is so slow on the throttle. I put into it and it barely changes anything. So if you need to get some ultimate fuel range, you're in the desert, you got a long ways to that next gas station, economy is the way to go. Our next mode is rain mode, which is even less throttle input and power than economy. Yeah, it's pretty slow. You also have traction control on this bike, that's all engaged. If we switch into yet tour mode, we'll roll off the throttle, re-engage. Now we get a little more power back. So tour mode is where you would leave it for most of the time, and probably if you're riding 2-up. Plenty of power. If I dig into the throttle there, you can hear it and feel it engage. And you will feel the shifting points barely. Tour is a very nice mode. We're going to leave it there for the rest of the ride because there's just no point being in sport mode. When we're on a group ride here and I can't go flying up the highway, sport mode isn't going to do much. For power, putting those specs on the screen for you guys, it's an incredible engine. You will have no lack of power in here. Goldwings, if you know anything about Goldwings in the motorcycling community, you can hook up trailers and tow with these things. They've got so much power. They're great for touring. You will not wish that you had more power. They're absolutely great. Power, we're going to give a 10 out of 10. For a touring motorcycle category, that's just top of the line. Let's move on to some of the features on the digital display in front of us. So right now you guys can see, obviously we are on navigation. I can move that navigational map around and zoom in and out with controls over here on my left handlebar. Yep, getting over. So it's not a touchscreen. The entire dash is sitting behind a glass panel to protect it, unlike the Harley and Indian screens where you actually have touchscreen control. So all of your controls to manipulate the screens are going to be on your handlebars. And there are so many buttons here. It's like the cockpit of one of my airplanes I teach in. There's just a lot. So you'd have to learn what all this stuff does, and I didn't really get the full briefing on that before we left. But your basic screen features are navigation. If we go to home, we also have audio source. If we click into that, we've got AM, FM, weather band, and we also have Bluetooth connectivity. There is also a Honda Connect app, and I believe in the new model year, we also have Apple CarPlay. If we go down to phone, there's where you would pair up with Bluetooth. It won't let us do it while we're moving on the highway. Settings are where you can adjust, obviously, the vehicle settings of the bike. and I did adjust the preload before I started. The preload is electronically adjustable. It was set for 2-up with gear. Since I'm the only one on the bike and there's nothing in the saddlebags, I just put it to single rider. So it loosened that suspension up just a little bit, make it a little more cushy. As far as other information on the screen, you have a GPS lock indicator to let you know that you do have GPS signal. It tells you the speed limit for the current road that you're on. I believe that would be software updatable and GPS based. As far as information, analog tack, digital gear indicator, plus what ride mode you're in. And on the lower right, you have the heated grip indicator, the heated seat indicator, suspension indicator, and an engine temperature gauge. On the bottom left, we have an ambient air temperature indicator, odometer, range to empty, and a fuel indicator, obviously along with our speedometer here, and then we also have a cruise control light indicator. There's also lots of indicator lights up on the dash, kind of like a car. They would come on if necessary, and that about covers it. The dash and the digital features, I like it. I'm not the biggest fan of not having a touchscreen. You don't want to be touching the screen while you're riding. I understand that, so probably for safety reasons they thought it better to put it behind glass. But if you're sitting in the parking lot trying to navigate through the screen, it would be much easier to have a touchscreen available up front. That's just my personal preference there. As far as the features on the screen, it's still top end, great navigation, lots of good information in front of you. We'll give the digital features a good 9 out of 10 for this. If you guys haven't seen the new Harley Skyline OS for 2024, that's the only reason Honda got knocked down to a 9 out of 10, because Harley is now taking top honors. That video, if it's not up already, it will be very, very soon on my channel. The Skyline OS for the new Harley 2024 Road Glide and Street Glide, absolutely insane. It's the size of this entire dash in front of you. That's just the screen on the Harley. It's 12.3 inches. Absolutely incredible. So, not a slouch by any means here on the Goldwing, but I'm docking at that point because it's not a touchscreen and it's not as big and as nice as some of the newer screens on the market with Indian and Harley. As far as style, I showed you guys a few shots of the bike at the beginning. I'm going to put a few up on the screen here while I talk about the bike with you. Honda has gone through many iterations of this Goldwing since the 80s. Each one has been an iconic redesign. They've all been identifiable as Goldwings. This newer design is very angular compared to the older ones. So the older 2000s, we're just going to go back to that previous generation in the 2000s. We're not going back to the 90s and 80s. They had a very rounded shape to them. Now, with the new Goldwings, they look more like a starship, very angular, very cool. I think Honda's trying to aim at a younger market there, because the Goldwing was always deemed the old man bike. It's what you got when you retired and you couldn't ride a Harley anymore. But now with this newer design, they're trying to tap into a younger market. And I think it's really working for them. I like the look of the new Goldwing. I also happen to like the look of the 2000s Goldwing. So styling is all going to be personal preference. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'd like to hear what you think, especially if you've owned any of these, the older ones, the newer ones, what your thoughts are on the redesigns. While we're talking about style, let's talk about aftermarket parts availability. Harleys, I always joke that they're Lego sets for adults. There's so many things you can do to customize them. Goldwings are kind of the same situation. There's a lot of aftermarket parts for them. If you've ever been to a motorcycle rally and you see the Goldwing guys pull up, you know they're there because they have like 50,000 lights on their bikes. There's LED strips all over the place. There's so many different light up trim pieces. Guys just go crazy with their Goldwings and lighting them up and making them look really cool. As far as performance parts, I don't know what there is available. I'm not familiar with that, so I'm sorry I can't give you that information. But as far as accessories to enhance the look of your ride, Goldwing has so many options available. So if you like doing that kind of stuff and customizing, you'll have hours of endless fun in the garage hooking up all kinds of cool trim pieces and lights to your Goldwing. I'm going to cut away from this ride here on the highway now. We're going to come back to our ride once we get somewhere where we're off the highway and I can demonstrate the handling capabilities of this motorcycle on some twistier roads. I do want to mention a couple of incidental things that I've noticed about this motorcycle over the past about 25 minutes that we've been on it here. I've cut out quite a bit of highway riding, so we've been on here a little bit. Number one, the heated seat does not get hot as quickly, and it does not get to as high of a temperature as my custom saddleman seat on my Indian. I'm not sure if perhaps there's something wrong with this demo bike. I can tell it's warm, but it doesn't get nearly as warm and toasty as my saddleman seat. So just something I've noticed. The same thing with the heated grips. Took a long time to warm up, and they are not nearly as hot, and I have both the seat and the grips on the top heat setting. Not nearly as hot as the grips on my Indian. So just something I'm pointing out, a little comparison there to note. And it may not matter that much to you guys if you live in a warm environment, but if you live in a cooler environment like I do, those heated seats and grips, they just make all the world of difference on the shoulder season of riding. So just something I've noticed. It's very weird not having to downshift. I have to remind myself, my left foot, there's nothing there other than a peg. I keep clicking my toe down trying to shift, and there's nothing there for me. Bike does it all. It's very, very cool. Honda did the DCT so well in the Goldwings. I've ridden other models of Honda where they've tried to put the DCT in it, and it's just not quite as good. They just absolutely perfected it in the Goldwing. They knew they had to because this is their ultimate touring bike. In other Hondas, it's okay, but if you really want to get a good feel for what the DCT is like and what it can do, swing your leg over a Goldwing and take it for a ride. So we are currently riding over some torn up roads. There were signs all over the place back there for motorcycles to use caution. We're going through a construction area, and we're going to be going over some bumpy roads. So as we get into the discussion on handling, I want to talk about the suspension as part of that. I'm going to lean forward here, keeping my eyes squarely on the road, but if you look down in here, there's a suspension wiggling up and down, back and forth. You can watch it in action, soaking up every little bump in the road. Riding this thing is partly so comfortable simply because the suspension does all the work for you. It'll soak up everything. It's amazing. Honda really made this a touring bike from the ground up, and the suspension is a key component of that. Ooh, that does not smell good. Whew. So the suspension on this thing is absolutely spectacular. Honda knocked it out of the park. Not sure if that lends itself more into the handling category or comfort. It probably goes in both. But the suspension on a Goldwing is something absolutely worth noting. Not just the electronically adjustable part, but that front suspension up there soaking up every little bump in the road for you. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to lean this bike over too far. Try. There we go. There's some good lean. I'm riding behind some guy who is scared to lean his bike more than about 2 inches left or right. He's going very slow through all these corners, so I'm having to drop back and kind of pull up. And they told us on the group ride they don't want us doing that either. So I'm trying to balance being respectful of the ride rules with the chase guy behind me, and also leaning this bike over far enough for you guys that we can actually feel what the handling's like. I will put the lean angles up on the screen for you guys if I can find them on Harley. If I can find them on Honda's website, I'll put the lean angles up on the screen for you guys. Give you some good info on that. Here's a nice turn. Just keep it moving, buddy. Super smooth, dips in very easily into the turns. It's very nimble. It's so light. I wish I could show off the handling to you guys, because you can just fingertip steer this thing, or counter steer it rather. Just fingertip counter steering. It drops right into the corner. Absolutely gorgeous. The handling is, oh, perfect. Well done. We're going to give handling a 10 out of 10 on this. I've ridden these things. I wish I could show it to you more in this video. I've ridden these out on twisty roads. I've been able to take these corners a lot faster and a lot harder on the lean angle, and this thing performs like an absolute beast. I'm not saying it corners like a sport bike, but for a touring bike, it's top of its category. So for handling, we're going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. It's a touring bike. It's not like a sport bike, but for a touring bike, 9 out of 10 on handling, pretty darn good. You know, you're not going to be dragging your knee like a street Rousey, but you can at least pretend you're on the Honda 1000 CBR. maybe drop the windshield out of the way first and turn the heated seat off. So if you guys have any questions about this motorcycle, I've covered power, comfort, handling, storage, walked around the bike, shown you the digital display. But if you still have questions or any comments, please let me know down in the comments below. I love hearing from you guys. I will do my best to answer any questions you guys have. If I can help anybody get on a motorcycle in any way, that's what I'm here for. I want to help you guys get on two wheels and enjoy the ride and have fun. So if you have any questions, comments, please let me know down below. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful or useful to you in any way, please hit that thumbs up button. That helps me crack the YouTube algorithm and get this video out to more people who would enjoy learning about the Honda Goldwing. If you're new here and you feel I've earned it, please click that subscribe button. Click the bell icon next to it and you'll be notified when there are new videos to watch here on Motoblade. I have filmed about 15 videos so far this week at MbD&x, so lots of great content coming out. If the bike you want to see hasn't shown up on my channel already, just wait a week. It might be there next week. Lots of great demo rides coming out. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you guys so much for coming back. I appreciate all you guys and helping me build this channel. Also, if I saw you guys at MbD&x, it was cool to meet you guys. Thank you to some of my subscribers for coming up and saying hi. Saw me walking around in the demo area. I appreciate you guys coming up and talking to me. I love meeting you guys. That's going to do it for this video from MbD&x 2024. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, be careful out there on the road. Ride safe, ride on. I'll catch you on the next video. Deuces.